Hello, I am Papagino. I have some cool battles to share here. These were all from a recent tournament with bronze level caps, and it's of course a wild tournament you can see just by uh, noticing some of these old cards here. Of course, let's take a rule at the rules for this battle. Very cool battle. 58 mana cap, so plenty of mana there. We had the Born Again rule, so units get revived. This Blood Moon rule, it's a very cool effect, very unique, very makes for very wild battles. And it's basically as if all these cards were gladiator cards. Instead, they all get bloodlust for free. So, very intense rule set here. And then Force a crowd. That doesn't really matter too much here, but it's mostly about the Blood Moon here. It's the most important one. So it heavily favors strong units, big strong units, and in general units that get to attack multiple times with things such as trample, double strike, or even with dual type attack values. Like you can see the Agor Longtail that my opponent chose. It's a good choice, or it would be if he got to actually attack from the third position. So kind of a funny placement there. The Carnage Titan also makes sense because of double strike. He gets to double dip and fish for those nice gladiator effect procs and things of that nature. Whoever ended up winning this battle, and it's all about the summoners really, and I mean also a little bit on the choice of cards, but it's mostly the disparity in level of power from these two summoners. I chose this new Conclave Arcana legendary summoner for the Dragon Splinter, Nidog. Nidog, very intense and aggressive summoner. You get all sorts of debuffs, but in return you get to choose between two very strong sets of battle tactics. And I didn't get the blast one. I ended up choosing the +2 speed and execute, which is also very, very strong, and I think makes a lot of sense given the rule set here. And just in general, I like to choose that one whenever I think there might be a mirror match between two Nidog summoners, and it was definitely the case here, although in the end my opponent chose something else. What my opponent chose is this other summoner from the Chaos Legion, legendary dragon summoner from Chaos Legion, Lily Shieldpaw. It costs only 6 mana, so my summoner costs more than double the mana than that one, but it's much stronger. It's like not even a competition. This is a nifty summoner. It has its uses. It's a very defensive choice. Basically, all these powers are somehow intended to be defensive and preserve the units at the back. So it can work sometimes when you have a very strong unit all the way in the back and you want to protect it. And maybe you're trying to fight in a battle where you don't have as much mana. This can be a good choice, a decent choice, but in this particular scenario, it doesn't matter if this is a legendary summoner. It's completely outclassed by this completely overpowered summoner here. Anyone who wants to be competitive pretty much these days needs to have these new cards because they're very strong, and Nidog is a fine example of that. And well, just to talk about my lineup a little bit, there's another very overpowered card, Rage. Works very well in conjunction with some of these new dragon summoners, for instance. Very importantly, well, he has incredible stats. Because of the high cost, it has very high stats, as you can see, but it also very importantly has the Void effect, which definitely at the bronze level these days comes at a premium. There's only so many cards that have it, so very strong card for that reason, and he will definitely take a few magic hits in this battle, for instance. So very strong units to put at the front, this Rage Dragon here. Then I chose the Oaken Behemoth in the second position. This is an old card that I really like to use sometimes. Another very costly card, but is justified because uh, of the dual attack type that really works well with this gladiator blood moon effect that we have for the Halloween event for the month of October. Very spooky, bloody, violent effect. And yeah, the dual attack type really will really pop off in a very meaningful way, but also because he gets to attack multiple times, it also has a great synergy with the execute that the summoner grants him. So there's a lot of good synergies there with that card, and we'll see in a few moments when we watch the battle. There's something else coming into play as well, which will really help me clutch out in the end there. And then I also chose this diamond dragon. This is just a dragon I was renting, an old card, nothing too special here, but again I chose it because it gives this low debuff to the enemy, and that's I figured would be valuable and sort of trying to overpower the enemy and take him by surprise a little bit here. This ended up being a somewhat lengthy battle actually, so it didn't quite work out that way, but I think this low is still valuable. Not so much against this summoner, against this enemy, but in general, when you use this kind of aggressive summoner, I think that's a valuable choice. So that was my thinking there. Anyway, let's see what happened here. So yeah, we start trading some blows here and there. You see the void soaks up a lot of damage. This guy would do 5 otherwise because rage has flying as well. And okay, I get the first kill there against this tank, and then the oaken behemoth in the back really starts to ramp up. Already has 3 damage and attacks twice. Some units get revived. This guy gets in the front. And as you can see here, there's some execute attacks as well that go off. And it ended up being sort of close because this guy does a lot of damage. And I would have been dead here, but because of Bloodlust and because this guy has some armor to begin with, when he kills a unit, he gets some armor back, and it has void armor as well, very significantly. The void armor, it basically acts as a divine shield in this instance, and really helped me close out the deal. Even if you have 7 attack and they attack twice, if you don't have enough HP against an enemy that also does 6, of course you die, but because of this one armor, it all ties it together very nicely, and we can watch the battle. And here it gets revived, but in the end I win. So that was a very fun battle, very nice to watch, and I showcase, I hope, of how strong some of these new cards really are here. We have some more battles. This one, again, quite high mana cap, 55. No melee units allowed because of the keep your distance rule, and also deflection field. So some annoying effects are taken out of the way. For instance, the effect from Tofu, the Tofu summoner from Rebellion, would not work here because of deflection field given to all units. And I mean, these are wild battles in the literal sense of the word. You cannot really predict everything that the opponent can do because there's so many strong summoners from the old sets with unique effects. But I really like when I'm having a little bit of trouble to pick this Immortalis summoner, very strong. For one thing, the void effect just shuts down so many magic units, which are very strong at the bronze level. So many people use them, but with the void, you're really very solid against them. But it's a good unit, a good summoner in general. Even these 2 little effects, the health debuff and the shatter, more importantly. The shatter, not too significant here, but in general, this is a nice summoner. I like it. It does a bit of offense, a bit of defense, and just a nice card in general. And yeah, we can see how the battle went, but you can see I was up against this Lorcus summoner. This is a very strong meta-defining, incredible legendary summoner. So definitely something to watch out against. I think my opponent didn't choose the best lineup here, perhaps, and even the order seems a little bit iffy there. But regardless, this is still a strong summoner to contend with. So I still want to highlight this battle just to show a little bit of what's going on here. All these units at the front, they all have void. This guy dies, okay, but overall I'm quite solid here, and I can dish out a lot of damage with these ranged attackers here, and there's not much the enemy lineup can do. So I really like this Immortalis summoner. There weren't too many magic attackers there, and my opponent didn't play in the optimal way, I don't really think, but still a good all-around choice, this Immortalis guy. And then let's see, I think we have one more that I really want to share. And okay, it's sort of the same thing again. In these tournaments, there's some people that participate, but they don't necessarily have the best cards or pick the best cards, and I think it was the case here again, because as you can see, it picked some units that don't really make a lot of sense. It went for this summoner just so he could use Quora, his gold foil Quora, and basically was fishing. He was hoping that this card would carry him, as it often does, but it doesn't really make sense to put Quora there in the second spot because she only gets to attack with the magic. It's still possible that you might get the win just because that card is that strong, but generally not the optimal placement, and this guy also doesn't make much sense in the fourth position there. He doesn't get to use his melee attack until he gets to the front, so very funny choices there. But of course you can see there's still a lot of magic damage coming, and mixed damage, actually, also a bit of melee and ranged and everything. And I went again with this Immortalis summoner. Maybe this is a better showcase actually of how strong and effective and just all around solid it can be. And of course my thinking again here was that we had Earth, Death and Fire Splinters available. When you see Death and Fire, you pretty much think of Lorcus these days. It didn't happen in this match, but I was sort of anticipating some heavy magic damage coming my way, so that was my thinking. Go with this Immortalis again for the Void mostly, and it paid out again. And it's sort of similar my lineup actually. I went with Mantarot in the front this time. This is a really nice combination of cards that I like to go for. Mantarot as the shield to begin with, and Immortalis gives him the void effect, so it's pretty much not immune but heavily defended against all types of attacks here. And thanks to his large health pool, he really gets to make a stand here and allow the units in the back line to do most of the work. And I was pretty confident in using some of these units. For instance, this old card that I was renting, Medica Headhunter, very unique card. I don't know why it has 2 snares here. That's a bug of some sort, I think. That's funny. Okay, well, whatever. But this is a very unique card for 8 mana. It has 4 attack, high speed. It doesn't have, the best health for a 8 mana card, but thanks to the Fog of War effect, it's pretty much safe, virtually invulnerable in the back there. So that was my thinking there. And in general, all these units have some kind of effect that allows them to do more damage than some other ranged units with the True Strike and the piercing and everything. So these are solid attackers so long as they're not being bothered by sneak attacks and snipe attacks and the likes. So that was my thinking for the lineup, and let's see how we can manage to take Quora down. Very satisfying whenever you can defeat a player that uses Quora, especially not in a guild brawl, just in a regular wild battle. Uh, and yeah, she goes down, she heals up a little bit, but the damage coming in is too much, and Mantorel just stands strong. It doesn't even go down at all, I think. Yeah, I just get to blow them all away without any losses. So very satisfying battle for me to watch there. Anyway, if we can take a look at the overall experience in the tournament, there were very many interesting battles that I've had here. This was perhaps one of my most, just one of the most fun tournaments to participate in for me so far. So I really had fun. The set parties here, I came in the 35th spot. So in spite of everything that happened, there's still room for improvement. I had some losses, too many losses here as well. So there's still some things that need refinement, sadly. And the saddest part of all, perhaps, is you can see here I didn't make it in the fourth bracket, like is the big reward. 35th, just didn't quite make the cut. Just one more win, one fewer loss would have done the trick there. So there's a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth there because of that. It's just a little bit unfortunate, but regardless, I had a lot of fun. And in general, I really look forward to these tournaments every week, every season, because the really place in the game where you can experience a structured, uneven, competitive environment, not like in ranked or anything. So these are really this is really the place for me to be as a budget player that still spends money, but on a budget to have fun and play the game the way it was supposed to be. So that's my message there. Yeah, anyway, this will be as usual my submission for the Splinterlands social media challenge, and I will see you perhaps another time when there's some more cool battles to share.